Would you all rise and join me in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This time we would like to take a moment of silence this evening. As we take a moment of silence, we would like to remember those who are serving in our military, those who deployed around the world here at home to protect the many freedoms of this great nation. We would also like you to remember our first responders, our police and fire department folks, for the work they do in maintaining safety and security here in our community. We also invite you to remember the City Council. As they make decisions here this evening, that they might do so in the best interest of those who reside and come to Riverdale. Now take a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Now have a period of time for public comment. This is a time that you're able to come forward to the microphone, address the City Council with any ideas you might have or any concerns, and you're welcome to do that. We'd like to ask you to come to the microphone, state your name if you would, and also please limit your comments to about 3 minutes if you would. So the time is yours for public comment.
Good evening. Dave Leahy. I need to address you guys about an item that I found the other day, and it concerns the Riverdale Senior Center. I put a couple of pictures up there, Mayor. I don't know if you saw them or not. Right in front of you.
I see them right here.
If you would pass those down, they might want to take a quick look so they get an idea what I'm talking about. As you come out of the Senior Center and walk to the south parking lot, there's a couple of things here we got to address. And the first thing we want to address is there's a drain up there that has a cutaway, like a little causeway there. And seniors are using this, and so are the people with canes and everything, because it looks like a walkway. Now, I'm sure it was not designed to be a walkway. It was for the drain of the water. However, it looks like a walkway, and they're using it for a walkway. And if you look closely at the picture I sent you around there, you'll find out that, or you'll see where it's raised up and it's a tripping hazard. Very, very dangerous thing. The mud's building up around there, and people go there with their canes and their walker, etc., because they think it's a shortcut from the south parking lot into the senior center. So when they walk down this causeway, that's a tripping hazard for them, and you can see where it's sunk. There's been no attention given to it over a period of time. As you can see, it's just sunk down, and it's really, really a dangerous thing. If you do not want to use that causeway as a walkway for the seniors or for a shortcut to the senior center from the parking lot, we need to somehow put this is not a walkway, and make them walk all the way around the flower beds and out around, which we don't want to do for older people. So what's our alternatives? Well, we can make a new walkway there for them. Next to that, we could fix that up so it's nice and level and possibly get away that way. There's lots of things that, you guys are going to have to hash over with that. But until they don't think it's a walkway, and they're getting up in years, a lot of those seniors, and hey, we just don't want to have a fall, or we just don't want to have a bad accident. where we're going to be held liable as a city. So it's something for you guys just to think over. But I want you to see that, so you'd know that it's got to be something's got to be taken care of there. The second picture you had was another place here. That was a flower bed at one time. And you see those little square blocks on there? That was a flower bed at one time. They put stepping stones on there. So what does that tell the people that are coming across there? It's a walkway, because that's exactly what it looks like, a walkway. So we got to do something here, because yesterday as I was getting in my car from yoga class, a woman tripped on that curb. And luckily she had, I'm saying luckily, blessed she was that she had somebody to catch her, so she didn't fall on her head. She was about, I'd say she's in her late 80s. She was, quite an elderly lady. And when she almost fell, the lady caught her, and she tripped on the curb trying to get up to this walkway, thinking it's a shortcut to the front door. Well, when she fell, she grabbed her, and she helped her up, and then she lost her balance and went off into the wood chips over here with her cane, and she almost went down again, so they caught her a second time. I didn't believe I saw that, but it was there. So that's another hazard. So what do we do here? We can take the stones out and say, hey, this is not a walkway. Or you can cut the curb and make it a walkway. Put concrete in there and make it a walkway. But again, it's a hazard, and people are looking at this and saying, hey, it is a walkway, and these seniors, if one of these seniors fall, you're not going to hear the end of it, believe me, because there's so many of them. You got yoga in the morning, you got all these classes going on in the morning, you got men coming for coffee, you got Tai Chi classes going on. There's people going in and out of that place in the morning, busy as heck. And some of them are late or something, they're walking a little fast. If they trip on one of these rocks, or, we don't fix something about that, then we're going to have a problem. And I can just see it coming eventually, just like I saw that woman fall. The other thing I had to concern myself about on the senior center was the two roads that go, there's two pillars that hold up the roof in the front. Well, there's a road in front of that they can get right to the front door, and then there's another road behind there that traffic also goes on. And when they're letting these people off and they're running back and forth, doesn't tell the car that there's people crossing there or not. So it might be a good idea. I don't know if you want to paint hash lines on the road there, make it a walkway from the south parking lot, make it a walkway, or else don't make it a walkway and don't put, but there still should be maybe two signs put up, one on one pillar and one on the other, one facing east, one facing west, with 2 arrows on it saying caution, pedestrian caution, or however you guys know how to do that. Some kind of sign to warn, the drivers that, hey, there's pedestrians crossing here. Some of them don't even look when they cross there. They think, I'm going to the senior center, they got something on their mind, and boy, them cars are coming in and out of there. So we really, really need to address this if you get a chance, and look at it, and maybe, I know you guys are really, really well versed in how to handle that. Take it, and I just wish you'd take just a little bit of time sometime and put some thought into that, and let's get our seniors taken care of over there, because I'd hate to see someone fall or get hit because driver didn't see him, or those pillars really, they block the people when they come out of there. Those two pillars, sometimes they'll stand on these patio blocks for just a minute, and then they'll just go step on. By that time, somebody's coming around to go park, and to get to the south park lot, they got to cross that street. So, and we don't want our seniors having to walk all the way down around flower beds if they don't have to, because that's just more of a hazard for traffic. So I appreciate it if you take a little bit of time and maybe give that some concern. That's all I had. Anybody have any questions or anything?
I don't. We thank you for that. Do you have any questions, counsel?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll take a look, Dave.
Thanks for listening.
Bringing that attention. That. So, thank you. Okay, seeing no others, we'll move on to presentations and reports. I've just got a couple of items. big issue with the state legislature this year. I'm sure you're following it on the news. Tax reform is taking place in Utah at the legislature, and there's a lot going on with that as far as sales tax. Looks like many of the services that have been tax-free in the past will be taxed in the future. Sounds like there may be some changes to the income tax, state income tax, so that's being watched. But there are things going on with sales tax. There's a lengthy bill. I think Roger mentioned there's like 230 pages to it. And it's real complex, complicated. We're tracking that, following that closely. There are things in that bill as presently written that could affect Riverdale City as far as our sales tax revenue, which is very important to our community to help fund our police, fire, other things that we have here. We have we have a large police and fire department just because of the many businesses we have. We have about 8,600 people live here in Riverdale, nighttime population. And in the daytime, there's estimates 50, 60,000 plus are in Riverdale. So right now, our budget in Riverdale, about 50% of our total budget goes for police and fire protection. And that's a significant amount, but we're really concerned with that. We were meetings at the Capitol yesterday. We've been back and forth down there and following these proceedings with this, but it's something the governor's pushed and the legislature, they've been working on this. I know the legislature, the people doing the bill's been working on it for over a year, so there's a lot of concern there with what the future may bring as far as tax revenue, and that may not be decided totally for a couple of years until they start getting this money in from the services they tax and figure out how much they're actually going to have. It's almost a for sure they're going to broaden the tax base and tax services, and so many of the services that we have done will be taxed in the future. We had a meeting this morning, I think a year or so ago. We put a note in the newsletter, an article that they're going to put express lanes in the freeway. Those HOV lanes, they would be from Riverdale. They'll go clear south. Right now they end in Layton coming north. But these HOV lanes will go all the way to Spanish Fork from Riverdale. So we met with some folks this morning. That's expected. They'll announce a contractor a week from today, and they expect construction to start about the end of this month, the first week of April. And it's going to be a major project. It's going to take over 2 years. They believe it'll go into the third year to get all this done. There will be some disruption on the freeways and here, and they've got plans to working with our communications person, Chris Stone. We're going to track that on the website, give you updates on there. They've also got and these numbers will get out to you, but you can also call and put your name on a text list, and if there's any alerts regarding the freeway in this area here, they will give you a text message and let you know of any problems with the freeway that might cause you grief if you're traveling somewhere. So more on that to come. You just have to kind of watch that on our city Facebook site. We're putting things on there. There'll be things on there, and try to keep you informed that, and then there'll be things in the newsletter. That's all I have for probably the mayor's report. City Council, any thing you'd like to bring out in the meeting regarding your assignments to mosquito board, senior board, and
Yeah, the director of the Mosquito Abatement Board, Ron Arcutis, has resigned, so we're looking for a new director. That's supposed to take place next Monday night. We're going to vote on it, a new person to take over. So it's kind of a slow season for mosquitoes right now, so we don't have to worry about that. But there will be a new director there.
that's good to know. Anything else? Move on next then to the consent items. Consideration, the first one, there's actually at least 4 of them here, consent items. First item is consideration and review of the meeting minutes from February 19th, our work session, and also our city council regular session. Is there any changes or corrections to those minutes? Move on to consent item 2. This is consideration to ratify the results for the Planning Commission Vice Chair position. Amy Ann Spires, would you stand up? Thank you. Amy is fairly new to the Planning Commission. I know she's been really involved. She's going to training sessions and doing all kinds of good things. And the Planning Commission, the Vice Chair position became vacant this past month, about the first month of the year, and the Planning Commission held an election here at their last meeting, and Amy Ann was elected as the chair of the position, vice chair of the position. So I'd like to congratulate you on that, Amy, and wish you the best with that. Appreciate your service. Appreciate you and your daughter being with us this evening. Move on to consent item number 3, consideration to set a public hearing on May 7th to receive and consider comments regarding the following. Riverdale City and Redevelopment Agency, RDA, tentative budget for fiscal year 2019 through 2020. Also declaring unclaimed property to public interest use. Consent item 4, consideration to set a public hearing on June 18th, 2019 to receive and consider comments regarding the following. The first is amending the Riverdale City budget for fiscal year 2018 and through 2019. That's this past year as needed. Adopting the Riverdale City final budget for fiscal year 2019 and through 2020. And also proposed amendments to the Riverdale City Code, the Human Resources Manual, 1-7-2, salaries of City Council and Mayor, and 1-7F-6, salary of the Justice Court Judge. And item D, consent item D. Well, this is part of the public hearing. Culinary water utilized by the city's general operations and the corresponding non-reciprocal interfund transfer to the city's water enterprise fund. That's something new we've had to do the last year or two. So, any questions on these consent items? We have a motion, Mr. Arnold.
Move to approve consent items.
Second?
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous in favor. Move.
Stevens, hang up.
You still there, Mr. Stevens?
Yes, I said aye.
Okay. We just wanted to be sure. Thank you. Move on to action item number 1. There's only one this evening. Consideration of Resolution 2019-04. This is a resolution of the legislative body of Riverdale City appointing 2 representatives to serve on the Taxing Entity Committee for all urban renewal, formerly redevelopment, economic development and community development project areas in the city of Riverdale. Mr. Worthen, our city administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, before you tonight is a resolution to appoint 2 members to the Taxing Entity Committee, which is mandated by Utah Code that any redevelopment agency activities that they have 2 representatives representing that organization on the Taxing Entity Committee. We're proposing that Mayor Searle, myself, Roger Worthen, and then Mike Agate as an alternate be appointed to that Taxing Entity Committee. This would be work for existing RDA areas in our community that utilize taxing entity committees. The new code does not require new development areas under new code that has these taxing entities, but old ones we do have to still participate via the taxing entity committees that are established. It's recommended that the council consider Mayor Searle, myself, and Mike Agate as alternate members.
Thank you, Mr. Worthen. Do you have any questions or comments? Mr. Arnold?
The resolution doesn't have anything about Mr. Agate in it as an alternate. I think it would be beneficial to actually add that, wouldn't it?
I think at the bottom it states
It's in there. It just doesn't name him by name. It just says Community Development Director.
Yeah.
In that paragraph, it's kind of buried towards the end.
I think it's at the
there.
bottom there, Councilor Arnold. It's just the position of the city, Community Development Director.
Agate anywhere.
You don't see Agate. I'll give you that one, but it does list the Community Development Director as a backup in case one of them can't be there.
Okay.
Should have probably had him where it names us specifically, not our position, so.
One of the, well, yeah, it generally we would list addresses on there too, and we don't release that information in public records. So if you'll notice, I just put your cities on there. I just thought, I don't know that we'd ever even use Mike, but he's in there in case we need it. So,
Okay.
and then I don't know that's that big of a deal. One way or another, I think we're covered. So.
Okay. You okay with that, Councilor? Okay. You have a motion then?
Yeah, I'd move to approve resolution 2019-04 as stated within the packet.
Second?
You had a motion, we got a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Mrs. Manning, will you poll the council on the resolution, please?
Councilmember Hanson?
Aye.
Councilmember Stevens?
Aye.
Councilmember Ellis?
Aye.
Councilmember Arnold?
Aye.
It's unanimous in favor, thank you.
You are
Moving, did you have something, Councilor Hanson?
Alan's just complaining about the process over here.
All right.
Jackie always makes me go last. Every time. Gosh.
Okay, we move on next to discretionary items. Are there any discretionary items this evening? Seeing none, we need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
A motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned, and we'll move on next to our RDA board meeting.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Amy Ann. Mr. Stevens is joining us by telephone, and Mr. Mitchell is excused this evening. We have members of the staff that are here also with us. We welcome them. Move on next to public comment. Seeing none, we'll move on to item C. Consent items. Consideration to approve the meeting minutes for February 5th, 2019, the RDA meeting held that evening. Is there any changes or corrections on the minutes? Do we have a motion to approve Mr. Ellis?
Move to approve the consent items.
Second.
Have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous in favor. Move on next to presentations. First item is discussion regarding a proposed development agreement formation within the 550 West Riverdale area, RDA. Mr. Worthen.
Thank you, Mayor Searle. To the council members, as part of the RDA board, last time we met, we had a discussion with Mr. D. Hansen about formation of a development agreement in the 550 West RDA. We have those proposed items that would be in that development agreement. There are some real estate transactions that are being proposed within that particular agreement, and I would like to entertain if the board would go into a closed session to discuss those proposed real estate transactions as part of the agreement.
Any questions on that? Do we have a motion to go into closed executive session?
Motion to adjourn into a closed executive session.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion. We have a second. Mrs. Manning, will you poll the board on the motion, please?
Mr. Stevens?
Aye.
Mr. Arnold?
Aye.
Mr. Hanson?
Aye.
Mr. Ellis?
Aye.
Just, Mayor, for clarification on that, Mr. Worthen, this is all in regards to a potential purchase of property, correct? We want to make sure that we're clear on the record on that, because otherwise, if it was just an agreement, we couldn't go into a closed session.
Yes, within that agreement is a proposal for land purchase.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we're now in a closed executive session. Need to make sure the live stream's turned off and everything else.